Hi, we're going to go ahead and talk about adding and subtracting fractions with unlike denominators. Okay, in the previous lesson, you learned how to add fractions such as 1/3 plus 2/3. Okay, and the difference is that the denominators, the number on the bottom, is the same number. So it was very easy to add. You just add the top numbers, and then the bottom number stays the same, and that was it. Okay? In this lesson, we're going to learn how to add and subtract fractions where the denominator, the number on the bottom, is different. So let's look at 1/4 plus 2/3. Okay? So we've got 1/4. Okay? And that means basically we've got something where it's divided into fourths. Okay? So 1/4 is one piece of that. Okay, 2/3 now has it where it's divided into thirds. Okay, the pieces are different sizes. We can't add them because we're talking about two different things. We have to get to so the pieces are the same size, and then we can add them because then they're all the same size. How we do that is changing the denominator. They have to be the same number. Okay. So we did the lesson about the least common multiple. Basically, that was the smallest number that both of those would go in. Okay, so I know you found the least common multiple of 4 and 3. Okay, what's the smallest number that 4 and 3 divide evenly into? Okay, so you could use the list method, or you probably just in your head thinking, okay, well, it's probably 12. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and change the denominator to 12. Okay. Now, we have to make them equivalent fractions. We just can't put the 1 down here, change it to 12 and put the 1 down there, because 1/12 is not equivalent to 1/4. Okay, so we've got to ask ourselves, okay, what fraction is equivalent to 1/4 that has 12 as a denominator? Well, remember when we changed fractions from one to the other, they made them equivalent. They represented the same amount, were just written differently. Okay, so 4 goes into 12 how many times? 3. So we did 4 times 3. Okay. So to make it equivalent, we have to do the exact same thing to the top, times 3, okay? Now we have 3/12, which is equivalent to 1/4. They represent the same amount, just written differently, okay? The same thing here. What did we multiply 3 times to get to 12? 4, okay? So we have to do the exact same thing to the top number. All right, okay? So 2/3 is equivalent to 8/12. All right, now we can add them, okay? We've got the same number on the bottom, which is 12. So remember, when we add and subtract fractions, the number on the bottom always stays the same. That's just telling us, okay, that's 12 pieces in the whole. Okay, that doesn't change. It doesn't all of a sudden become 24 pieces if we add them together. Okay, now we just add the top. 3 plus 8, 11. Okay, and 11/12 is our answer. Okay, let's go ahead and work out another one. 5/6 plus 2/3. All right, there's kind of a glare. Okay, so we've got 5/6 plus 2/3. Okay, so again, the denominators are different, so we have to get a common denominator. We have to get the least common denominator, which is the number that's the same. Okay, so 6 and 3, we have to ask ourselves, okay, what is the least common multiple of 6 and 3? What's the smallest number that both 6 and 3 go into? Well, 6 goes into 6, 3 goes into 6, so this is the smallest. Okay, so we'll rewrite it down here. Now, do we have to do anything to this fraction? No, we just leave it alone. It's the same thing. Okay, so this is the one where we have to come up with an equivalent fraction, okay? So what did we multiply 3 times to get to 6? Times 2. And then we do the same thing to the 2. All right, so 2/3 and 4/6 are equivalent. Now we can go ahead and add. Okay, remember when we add and subtract, the denominator stays the same. Okay, so 5 plus 4. All right, so now we have 9/6. Okay, so that's our answer. However, what type of fraction is this? It's an improper fraction, okay? This is not, unless they ask you to leave the answer as an improper fraction, we never leave our answer in this form. Okay, so we need to turn this into a mixed number. Okay, so remember how we do that? Okay, remember 6 pieces in one hole. I have 9 pieces. So how many holes can I pull from those 9 pieces? We can pull 1. Okay, so we've pulled 6 pieces from the 9 to make that 1 hole. So how many do we have left? 3. Okay, so now we have 1 and 3, 6. Are we done? Not quite. Okay, so we have our mixed number. That's great. But is it in simplest form? No. We can simplify the 3, 6. Okay, 3, 6 is the same thing as 1 and 1/2. Okay, now we're done. We've got our number, we've turned our 9, 6 into a mixed number and in simplest form. That's how we show our answers. All right, so that's for addition. Now let's work on subtraction. Okay, so let's do 4/5 minus 2/3. Okay, and subtraction is just the same as addition. We have to come up with a common denominator. Okay, so we've got 5 and 3. What's the least common multiple of 5 and 3? The smallest number that both 5 and 3 go into? Probably 15. Okay. Okay, so 5 times what gives you 15? 3. So we take 4 times 3. Okay, 12/15 minus, okay, we'll do the same thing here. What do we take 3 times to get to 15? 5. So we take the 2 times 5, and we get 10. All right, so now we've rewritten the equation, 12/15 minus 10/15. Okay, now we can go ahead and subtract. Remember, the denominator just stays the same, so it's whatever over 15. 12 minus 10, 2/15. Okay, so let's do a double check. Is this in simplest form? Yes. Okay, so this is our answer. All right, one more. Okay, 7/8 minus 2/3. Okay, so different denominators. So right off the bat, we know we've got to get a common denominator. So let's think to ourselves, 8 and 3. What's the least common multiple of 8 and 3? Well, 8, 3 didn't go into 8. 16, 3 didn't go into 16. 24, 3 goes into 24. So it's 24. Okay, so 8 times what gives you 24? Times 3. So we got to do the same thing to the 7 times 3. So that gives us 21 over 24 is equivalent to 7/8. Okay, 3 times what gives you 24? 8. So we have to do the exact same thing to the 2. That gives us 16 over 24. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and subtract. Remember, denominator just stays the same, just scoots over. Okay, so we've got 21 minus 16. That gives us 5. Okay, so we've got 5 over 24, so we've got to stop and check. Is that in simplest form? Yes, so that's our answer. All right, so that's how you add and subtract fractions with different denominators. Good luck on your assignment.